Wait, hold on. I'm here. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Had a bit of a pet situation this morning. Well, okay, not so much a situation as much as a pet scenario. Okay, let's call it what it is. A regular everyday occurrence. Which basically involves anytime I'm ready to do any work, one of my four-legged children decides right then and there they need to take a nap. On me. I suppose when you've got the musculature of someone that has a consistency of a pet bed, well, it comes with the territory. But I'm here, and I am here for another weekend special edition of our sneak peek previews, the third part of our series that we're calling New Releases You Might Have Missed. Now, most of you have heard this, but in case this is your first time seeing one of these, when we launched Say with Jay a little over 2 months ago, most of our content was pre-released audiobooks that we brought over from Audible. But we had a handful of brand new exclusive releases that had never been seen or heard anywhere else but Say with Jay. Because of the hubbub of starting a new channel, these didn't get the individual promotion that they really deserved, and we're fixing that today. Before I start with this week's edition, I wanted to say a special thank you to longtime listener and friend of this channel for sure, Miss Lois Bergman, who sent me this incredible shirt, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. I certainly appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Okay, this week's new release that you might have missed is Heartland Stars. It's another one of the Heartland romance series, like last week's edition, Heartland Holidays. In fact, this is the follow-up to that book, and it's the story of Meg McCartney, the middle sister in the McCartney family, and it takes place right after the events of Heartland Holidays. The story opens with Meg in a bit of a despondent mood, I guess you could say. She's now the lone sister remaining on their family farm, her two other sisters having gotten married. Spoiler alert. And she's now doing the work of three people, and feeling like in her life, she's getting left behind. It's also the story of Ferris Warner, a farmer who is having his farm taken away from him by his local government because of eminent domain. They're building an airport and through the courts seized his land. And it's the story of a marriage of convenience between the two of them. It's a wonderful, heartwarming story, and like all of Jessie's stories, it has a strong faith message. It's written about such real people with such real emotions and real stories. It's always just amazing to me to read them, as a fan, and I'm so blessed that I get to perform them for you. But anyway, with all that said, let's take a listen to a sample from Heartland Stars.
Ferris Warner stared at his phone in disbelief. The woman, his friend Preston, had suggested what was the word, proposition? It felt like a father of four was a little too old to be propositioning anyone, but he supposed that was what it was. He hadn't thought she'd actually respond. He wasn't too worried about messaging a complete stranger and asking them to do something totally crazy. He figured he could tell Preston, "Yeah, did it. She ignored me. Big surprise. He hadn't expected her to message him back. Her answer had been simple. "I'll do it." That had been shocking enough. So then, he, thinking that maybe she was just being smart with him, said, "Great. How about this afternoon?" And she had written back, "Okay, what's your address? I'll be there at 2." Now, he was glad she was coming, because he loved this house. He'd grown up in it, and it held all of the memories of his entire life. He loved it, loved the farm. And there was a part of him that was glad that if this woman, this Meg, was seriously going to marry him, which is what he asked her to do, he wanted her to know the farm for at least a moment before he lost it. He had a week left before he had to move out, and they'd already had the auction. Pretty much everything was gone, except the kids' toys, the kitchen and bath things, bedding, clothes, and a few odds and ends. Personal stuff. Things he was hoping to move with him wherever he went. He had a place lined up, but looked like he might not need it. He fingered his phone, then sent a text to Preston. "Is this girl for real? She didn't ask me any questions, just said yes." It didn't take long for Preston's message to come back. "I talked to her. Told her you were honest and dependable. That's all she needed to hear." "Really? What kind of woman is she?" His imagination spun, his baser nature took over, and he figured she must be ugly. "Is she deformed?" He sent it before he could erase it and then quickly hit the button to unsend. Before he could, Preston's answer came back. "Ha, you're going to be surprised." That's all he said, which wasn't exactly a no, but it wasn't a yes either. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Beggars can't be choosy, and I just can't believe she agreed so easily." Jackie, his late wife, would have needed a year to think about it. She would have asked a million questions, she would have gathered all the details, lined them up on a spreadsheet, and had 70 churches in 40 different states praying for her. She was a good woman, but maybe he could get used to this whole just make a decision and go with it kind of person. Did that say something bad about her? "She felt like it was God opening a door. When I said you had character, she was sure it was God. That's the kind of girl she is." Preston's message was reassuring. He hadn't thought Preston would set him up with anyone who wasn't a Christian and didn't believe the way he did. Not that there was anything wrong with such people, just, if his relationship was going to work, it was important that they agreed on religion at least. Politics even better. And money. Money could wreck a relationship. He was always able to tune out the chaos around his house, but that thought made him look around. He didn't want to go into a relationship that wasn't going to be good for his children. He'd been clear with Preston when they talked. He trusted Preston enough that this Meg, whoever she was, would be not abusive at the very least, as much as anyone could know. Because even if he dated her for 3 years, he really wouldn't know what she would be like until she was in the day-to-day grind of raising his kids and running a household. It wasn't easy. He ought to know, since he'd been doing it by himself for almost 4 years. A loud bang interrupted his thoughts, startling him, although he knew exactly what it was a half-second after it happened. Matt had broken one of the balloons the kids were playing with. Immediately, Missy started crying. "My balloon! My balloon! Why did you break mine? Why didn't you break your own?" her sobs started again, only harder.
Matt, you did that on purpose. Why are you always so mean?
Jenny, the second oldest and the one that did the most mothering, had her hands on her hips and glared at her brother.
Because he can't help himself,
said Robert, who at 8 wasn't exactly endowed with the world's wisdom. Missy, you don't need to keep crying. We'll get you another one. I think I have a couple pink ones left. He knew from experience that it needed to be pink. With Missy, everything needed to be pink. And Matt, since you broke it, you need to blow it up for her. After you apologize, Ferris said, trying to keep the tiredness out of his voice. They were in the middle of the busiest season of the year, except for possibly the corn harvest, and he should be outside, working. But his fields lay fallow. The judgment had been rendered almost 3 months ago, and the eviction date set. There hadn't been any point in planning anything this year. Matt apologized, grudgingly, and Missy stopped crying after Ferris bent down and gave her a hug. He held her hand as they walked over to the cupboard, got in the balloon bag, and found a pink one. When you have it blown up, I'll tie it for you, okay, bud? Matt nodded, but he still seemed sullen. Hi, this is Jay, and thanks for listening. If you're ready for another great audiobook, here's one we think you might like. Or check out the playlist with all our latest releases. Don't forget to subscribe to Say with Jay, give this video a thumbs up, and tell us what you liked in the comments.